Now, a motion picture so grand, so magnificent, and so vast, it spans 7,000 years.
No way! Yes way!
But it starts with Bill.
I'm Bill S. Preston!
Who was Joan of Arc?
And Ted.
Noah's wife? We're in danger of flunking most heinously tomorrow.
A force from the future.
Can we go anywhere we want at any time?
You can do anything you want.
Is putting history at their fingertips.
Let's reach out and touch someone.
They're traveling through time.
How's it going, Royal Ugly Dudes?
Put them in the Iron Maiden.
Excellent!
Execute them.
Bogus. How's it going, dude?
Specklé, stay au l'air.
And they're making a big impression.
Historical babes.
Now they're home.
Everybody get together, remember who your buddy is.
To trash the 20th century.
You got a live one here.
Keanu Reeves, Alex Winter, Napoleon,
We're from history.
Billy the Kid.
Oh my God.
Joan of Arc, Sigmund Freud,
Tell me about your mother.
You a musician?
Beethoven,
Genghis Khan!
Abraham Lincoln,
Party on, dudes!
Socrates, George Carlin.
We're history.
If you guys are really us, what number are we thinking of? 69, dudes!
Bill and Ted's
Excellent! Excellent!
Excellent Adventure.
Party on, dude.
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and San Dimas High football rules. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margot D. Hello, my friend.
You killed Ted, you medieval dickweed.
This movie's endlessly quotable. 1989's Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That is on the agenda for today. It is written by Chris Matheson and Ed Solomon, and it's directed by Stephen Herrick, who also did Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead, which we love
that movie. Yep.
and Rockstar, which we
Don't
also
love.
we
Made
all
fun of like crazy.
which we also did an episode on. And of course, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure stars Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter, George Carlin. So good. Did you see this in the theater?
Oh, you're goddamn right I did.
Yeah, same.
I couldn't wait to see this movie. It's so up my alley.
It was 100% up my alley, and I loved it then. I love it more every time I watch it, basically. It's what a fucking delight. This movie's a delight. There's like one part where I was like, that part's not a delight. The rest of the movie's a delight.
Yeah, I think we both know what that is. We'll get to it.
Yes.
Because it was kind of like a, ugh.
Yeah.
I did a recording, and the first time it happened, I was like, oh, so I had to go back and then re-record without that. But we'll talk about it.
Totally forgot that was a thing in this movie.
Well,
But-
it's just a thing that happened.
Yeah, it's very 80s in that way.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, come on now. Stop the
What are you
podcast.
waiting for?
Stop this podcast. Go watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure and come back. This movie is about Ted Theodore Logan and Bill Preston Esquire. I'm sorry, Bill S. Preston Esquire. And they are about to like fail their history test. They're going to flunk out of school. They're in their band. It's just the two of them called Wild Stallions. And it's spelled all weird with like Y's where there should be I's. And they are going to flunk out of school. And Ted is going to be sent to military school in Alaska. Like you do. And George Carlin, whom I love, shows up as Rufus. He is from the future, and he is here to help Bill and Ted pass their history test. I can't even tell you how big of a crush I had on both of them back in the day. Like, I loved them so much. I mean,
there's people that have been responding to that. Yeah, saying like they had skater boy crushes that were just like Bill and Ted. And I think first of all, they're both adorable. Everybody drink. I mean, I also I found a clip of them when they were auditioning for their roles.
Oh my gosh. How cute.
And I posted it on TikTok. And it's like they made the movie actually in 86 or 87. And then
they
it
were
was
just
on the
babies.
shelf. Yeah, so they were on it. It was on the shelf, and they had to wait a couple of years before they released it. So they're super young and eager, like Hollywood kids. And I'd make out with either one.
Seriously, I looked or both at the same time. What? There ain't no shame in that three-way.
Horny Margot's coming out in this episode.
A three-way. Tell me why. I read about some of the other people who auditioned for their roles, and I'm like, no, some of these people are great. Like one of them's like Brendan Fraser reportedly auditioned at some point, River Phoenix. You know, these are all like great people. I'm like, nobody else could have played these roles, in my opinion. Like they bring such a sweetness to it.
They're such nice guys.
They're so nice, and not like quote unquote nice guys. Like they're nice guys.
They're good people. They're honest to goodness good people.
Yes.
Are they stoned? Are they really stupid? Is it both? I mean,
could be both.
They really have a stunning lack of knowledge for senior. Are they seniors?
Yes, they're seniors in high school.
Yeah. Bernie Casey, by the way, awesome Bernie Casey as their history teacher.
Yes.
They're so cute and make-outable. They're so and everything I had a crush on a boy in the 80s was like that.
Yes.
The relaxed kind of quality. And it's something I still like about a dude. They don't enforce their ideas on other people. They just kind of like, this is what I like, this is what I'm into, but what are you into? What's your thing? They're so sweet. I can't get over like just how great they are as people. And I have to say this also, this time I've watched it, which I hadn't seen this movie in 20 years?
Yeah.
It's a long time.
It's been a while since I watched it. It's been a while since I watched it.
It's been a while. Missy, the stepmother, is hilarious. She's funny as shit.
She is really funny. And I definitely read some things where people were commenting that Missy is problematic because she's only 3 years older than them. And I'm like, well, that's kind of the joke. And I don't think it's, and I'm like, and I don't think it's played to be like normal and acceptable. It's played to be awkward and kind of creepy. That's the joke of it. You know, the whole, you know, remember when I asked your mom to the prom, you know, like the fact that they were freshmen and she was a senior, like, oh, that's the joke. Like, it's not meant.
That does happen, by the way.
It absolutely happens. It's not meant to be like normalized. Yeah. I disagree.
The joke. It's the joke. And that's like, and exactly like, y'all just calm your teas. I think there's much more stuff that you could call problematic later on, but her plot line, I think she's just really sweet.
She is.
She obviously loves her husband. She loves her stepson. She loves her life. Like she's not a spiteful person or someone who's being taken advantage of. She seems like she's totally has agency over herself.
No, I think she's funny. Like,
yeah, she's hilarious.
I was cracking up at her and just like how sweet she's very sweet to them. Like she drives them everywhere. She's not mean to them. She's not an evil stepmom. She meets all these like people that they've picked up through their time travels, you know, and she's like, well, there's sodas in the fridge, like doo-doo-doo. Like it's one of the many things I love about this movie, because other than Ted's dad, like a majority of the characters
who's got a rage problem, like
such a rage problem, and Freud addresses that later, but like there's in general, like people in the movie are pretty kind and like accepting, and I laughed so much watching this movie. Like I love, here we go, it's gonna be I love.
I know.
So they travel like all through time in a phone booth, and kids
like Doctor Who
ask your parents about phone booths. Before there were cell phones, you had to don't
they sound disgusting now?
Oh my God, gross. It's so gross. Y'all, there used to be these booths all over because we didn't have cell phones. So if you needed to make a call, you had to use you had to go into this phone booth, and you could even close the door in there. And
on a hot day, it was like,
oh, gross.
And you would place that phone that everybody used up to your fucking face, and you did not have hand sanitizer with you or wipes.
It's disgusting to think about it.
I don't know. I mean,
how did we all survive?
Because nowadays I have I have so many friends who carry sanitizer like everywhere they go.
Yes.
For every little thing, or they wash their hands. I wash my hands all the time, dry hands, because I wash my hands so much. And
how
it's so
did we
disgusting.
survive payphones? Like, I don't know how that. And there used to be some in the bathrooms. Remember that? Like, especially in ladies' rooms, by the way. There used to be payphones in the ladies' room so that ladies could basically go in there and hide and call the fucking police on people
dates.
On their dates. Oh, bleh. Anyway.
And that was, by the way, the writers, they were originally going to put it in, the time machine was going to be a Chevy.
Yeah.
But they wrote this at the same time as Back to the Future, which had the DeLorean. So then they was like, oh, we'll just use a phone booth. That would be kind of funny. But then that neither one apparently had ever watched Doctor Who. It didn't know that was like.
Look, I've never watched Doctor Who, but I know it exists, and I know it's a thing. But
I know some of the basics.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's
Whatever.
fine. But yeah, you go with it. So they get to the Circle K. I love all these things.
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K. So quotable. This movie's so quotable.
So they're in a band, and they really want to be famous, and like everybody in the 80s, right? And then they figure, like, what if we get Andy Van Halen to play with us? When I think they just talk like that could just possibly happen.
Yeah, you just ask him.
Just ask him. Ask him and Valerie, bring him over.
Yeah, Ted.
What he has to say.
But Ted first is like, maybe we could learn to play our instrument. It's like, what? Learn to play?
So they're not very good, but they have a lot of enthusiasm, let's say. And they're not going to be scholars in their lives. I mean, this is, they're figuring out what they're really enthusiastic about, and let's just go for that. But their grades are terrible because they're not very bright.
No.
And it's fine.
And again, they're not bright, but again, they're nice. They're nice boys.
They're nice boys. They're nice kids. They don't hurt people. They just do their thing without harming people, but they're really dumb. And so their history professor's like, look, you're going to flunk, this class. They did terribly on their test because you have an oral exam. Oral.
You said oral.
So they have an oral exam. So they have to, come up with a presentation. So they're trying to figure out what to do, and they're at the Circle K, and that's when Rufus shows up. I love his name is Rufus.
Rufus. Anyone who listens to the show for a long period of time knows I love George Carlin. Love. And I love him in this. I think he's so great.
He's a really good actor, too. He's
he's just funny as shit. Like everything. He's so funny.
He's in this movie, and he plays a guy that's in like 2880 or something, very far in the future. And Wild Stallions music changed the world and stopped world wars and poverty. So his whole thing is, y'all can't flunk out. So I'm coming through time. And the space-time continuum, it's not like Back to the Future where he changes one thing and everything changes in the future.
No, they don't bother with that stuff here.
No, which is good, because I don't want to be stressed out. Like, I just want to...
And that's...
Excuse me.
Yeah, that's one of the things about time travel movies. It's like, time travel movies are super fun. And if you want to get super technical in it, and, like, you can absolutely go down that rabbit hole, but it's more fun if you don't. And this is one of those ones.
You don't have to explain it.
Yes.
Like, it's just, I'd rather you not explain it. Because, I mean, it's a great reveal in the third act of Back to the Future, the way the parents did change. Spoiler for Back to the Future, y'all. But in here, so he said, and it's funny because Bill and Ted meet Bill and Ted. So they meet their future selves, and they meet themselves, and they're like, hey, man, trust Rufus. And is it Ted who has I forget who's Bill and who's Ted. I know that's terrible.
No, Ted is Keanu Reeves.
Keanu. Okay, so Ted tells Ted, "What, wind your watch."
Kids, a watch. Back in the day,
what's a watch and what's winding? You remember doing that?
Yeah, you had to. Some watches had batteries, or you had to like wind your watch. That was a thing. Now we all have our Apple Watches and our Fitbits.
Yeah, back then they had Swatch watches.
Yeah, they only told time. What?
That's all they fucking did. Isn't that incredible? And then I had like a good 15 years of my life. I never wore a watch. And then Apple Watches came out, and I'm like, well, I have to have that.
Yes.
Like, I know. Anyway, so they get in the time machine, and they're going to go back, and on the chalkboard, now, but like every single person that's listed on the chalkboard is somebody they're going to get. And I don't know why they have to get Billy the Kid in particular, because he wasn't a great person.
I don't know.
Okay, they just wanted a Western.
Yeah, exactly. They just needed to pick up someone from the West, I guess. So it turns out to be Billy the Kid, and yeah, so Billy,
great.
And he's great. And then after that is Socrates, also known as Socrates. And let me tell you, one of the things I wrote in my notes is how much I love Billy the Kid and Socrates. And I am going to just refer to him as Socrates, by the way. I love them because, well, actually, it's one of the other things I love about the movie is there's not a constant, like, them trying to, like, get away from Bill and Ted, or that or that they don't like Bill and Ted, or any of those things. Like, Billy the Kid and Socrates in particular, like, they're fucking in it from, like, the second they meet Bill and Ted. They're like, yeah, why wouldn't I just...
It's Socrates. He doesn't speak English. So what's he doing? I love it. Then they get Beethoven, and what they do is they crash their phone booth, and then they just grab the people, which I love. And so for Socrates, they had to sing. They talked about dust in the wind.
It's dust in the wind, dude.
And he's like, "Yes, you're geniuses. I'll go with you." So they take him, and then we get Beethoven, and I love that Beethoven is deaf, so he wouldn't hear them.
They just crash their phone booth like right into his place, and he's like totally surprised to see. He doesn't even know they're there. Like,
no. Everybody else is freaking out, and they just grab him. They get Sigmund Freud, who does speak some English.
Yes.
And Joan of Arc, who's Jane Weedland, who's adorable.
Adorable. Everybody drinks. She's so fucking cute.
She was in this and Clue.
Yes.
I mean, like, two movies that were huge for me in the 80s. I just think, and I love the Go-Go's, obviously.
Obviously.
I'm a normal person. Yes. But we get Joan of Arc. Who else do we have?
We get Genghis Khan.
Genghis Khan, who's just like eating all this food.
All this junk food because he likes the sugar rush, and then he's running around destroying things. But the first person they pick up is Napoleon. And
he's my favorite.
They accidentally bring Napoleon back with them, and that's what kind of kicks off the idea of getting the rest. So Napoleon, they like leave behind, and they just like stick him with Ted's younger brother, Deacon. And they're just like...
Who's on a date or something?
Yeah, he's just 12. Like, hey, like, can I just leave you? I'm going to leave you with Napoleon. Like, here's some money, like, just entertain him or whatever. And so the kid, like, takes him on a date to, like, the ice cream place. And Napoleon's such a dick. Surprise, Napoleon's a dick. Like, they just take him out, and he... eats all the ice cream. He fights them for the last bite. They take him bowling, and he cheats. Like, he's such a prick. So
he gets kicked out of the bowling alley. They
ditch him. They ditch him, and they're just like, "You ditched Napoleon," and he's like, "He was a dick." It made me laugh so hard.
I love Napoleon. He's such a little asshole. But all these people are great that are playing these characters. And Lincoln, we forgot to mention.
Oh, yes, and
Abe Lincoln. But at one point they go back to the Middle Ages.
Yes.
So this is when and it is hilarious. And I think your son would have loved this if they're in the metal suits, when they're in the armor.
Yes.
And fighting each other.
They have such a good time wherever they go. Like,
it's such great acting. And then that's when, that's my favorite scene is when Bill thinks Ted is dead. So he just yells, "You killed Ted, you medieval dickweed."
You medieval dickweed. Again, so quotable.
So 80s too.
Yes.
Like, what is a dickweed? I don't know. But it was a huge insult that we used to throw at people.
Yes.
And then, but that turns out Ted's alive, and that's when they hug really quick, and then they say, which I forgot.
Yeah.
The F word, which is a slur.
Yeah.
They do it very quickly.
Yeah, they drop a gay slur it totally took me out. I completely forgot that this was a thing in the movie because it seems like super out of character because they are like pretty affectionate with each other. Like they clearly love each other, and for them to like
straight guys like to say to each other, and even like up to like 10 years ago, I know guys that would do that, and it's so like it took me out for just a quick second, and then they go right back into it, and then they have their two babes, and one of them is Diane Franklin.
We love her.
Better Off Dead. We love her so much. And then so there's two hot chicks that they meet along the way, but they're
historical babes, Margot.
Hey, babes.
Historical babes. Those are historical babes.
And why they don't have girlfriends? I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, that would have been catnip for me.
I think we're supposed to think that Bill and Ted are losers, like that they are like unpopular and losers. And I'm like, there's no way I would believe that for a second. They are both so fucking cute. There's no way.
They're not Beavis and Butthead.
No, exactly.
They're way too cute, and they would, like I said, that would have been catnip for me. I would have just had such a crush.
Oh my! I can't even tell you how big my crush on Keanu Reeves. I mean, I still have a crush on Keanu Reeves, but back in the
why some of us for decades have a crush
80s
on Keanu Reeves.
And like 90s. I mean, again, still, but man, like Bill and Ted, Parenthood, just.
Speed,
Point Break, like fucking biggest the Rush video with Paul Abdul. He's so handsome in that video. I love him. Anyway, this isn't just for me to talk about how much I love Keanu Reeves.
And Alex Winter was in The Lost Boys.
Yes,
which was also one of my favorite movies of the 80s and still one of my favorites.
It's so good.
They're a great duo. So just to move it along, they come back to the future or whatever. They come back to the present, which is 1988 in the film, and they're in San Dimas. And so they have to they land, and then Rufus says, okay, you've got 2 hours, but they do a lot in 2 hours.
Yeah, they do.
But in the meantime, they find, oh Christ, so people outside my apartment again? Okay. Anyway, there was a pizza party outside my apartment a few weeks ago. So
did you get some pizza?
No, I didn't, because it was cold and raining. I'm like, what is going on? Wait, hold on a second. Let me see. And then we'll go back to, let's see. I guess they're going to go for a walk, but they're literally like right by my window.
Boo. I can't hear them, so.
Okay, well, we'll just come back then.
I do want to say the movie is rated PG, and other than the gay slur, I actually think this movie is great for kids. Like, I really wanted to watch it with my boy. He wasn't in the mood, so I didn't watch it with him. But I will totally watch it again when he is in the mood, because I do think he would actually like it. I think it's great for kids, other than, like I said, that part. There's so many things that I love it when they do the whole, like, they meet the princesses, by the way, and then they're like, how's it going, royal ugly dudes? And instantly, like, the evil guys, like, put them in the Iron Maiden. And they're like, Iron Maiden, excellent! Execute them. Bogus. Or even when, like, Napoleon, like, looks through his telescope and he sees them, and they're like, how's it going, dude? And he's like, blow them up. Instantly he's like, fuck them, blow them up.
So at one point Napoleon gets away from the group. They all go to the mall to learn culture, American culture, and then they're going to present them to the class, because and it made me miss mall culture of the 90s, because that was kind of fun.
God, the malls were the best.
They really were. They had everything there. Like, they really was a store that sold, like, pianos.
Yes.
There's a television store.
Yes. And you would go to the mall, and there would be. This one has an ice skating rink. The mall, mall, by the way, sometimes I still go back to my mall. My sister and I just go back to the mall and walk our old mall. It had a skating rink. It had a bowling alley. It had a
movie. Sun Valley?
Yeah. It had a movie theater.
Yeah.
Like it had, and then it had our like huge department stores, our Macy's, our J.C. Penney's, our Sears, all that. And then, it is still probably the only place you could get a fucking pretzel outside of a ball game. Go to one of those like Wetzel's pretzels or Orange Julius. Like I loved my mall.
The mall court on a hot day. It was really nice to walk around. It was cool.
Yes.
I mean, it just had, and sometimes they had concerts there.
You could see Tiffany or New Kids on the Block at the mall.
It was all at the mall, y'all. So they go to the mall, except for Napoleon, who goes to the water park. And I love fucking Napoleon at the water park. He's such an asshole. He pushes the kids out of the way.
He's such a
tyrant.
I love it because he's
him.
like he is the actor. I'm gonna look it up because he is committed. Like he stays in character the whole time. I need to look it up. His name is Terry Camarelli. He's Italian, playing Napoleon. And he is committed, and Napoleon is a dick throughout the whole movie to people. He is like I said, they ditch him because he's such a dick. And then he goes to the water park and he's like cutting in line. He's like pushing kids out of the way to like go first down the water slides. And he loves those water slides. He has the best time.
Waterloo. That's the best time for him. And so everybody else, Genghis Khan takes over the sporting goods store and beats the shit out of a mannequin.
They're
Oh my God.
when they're doing their report and they're like 700 years ago, Genghis Khan totally ravaged China. And then we heard 2 hours ago he totally ravaged Oshman's sporting goods.
I mean, yeah, the Billy the Kid and Socrates are trying to pick up mall chicks.
Okay, another one that I laughed out loud where they're just like, hi, like trying to like pick up girl, and here comes Freud with a fucking, he's got a corn dog. It's like his giant phallic symbol, and he's like, you ladies seem to be suffering from hysteria, and they're like, you're such a geek.
What is a geek?
He's got like a sign on his back that like someone put a sign on. Freud is such a goober that everyone's making fun of him. I love that Billy the Kid and Socrates are trying to pick up chicks. It's hilarious to me.
They're just having a good time. They're all just going along for the ride.
Yeah.
Of course, we have to have like a little bit of conflict. So like when Bill and Ted are going to the thing, Ted's dad, of course, has to like throw people in jail and be a dick about it and threaten him with. So there's a point where there's the future Ted and Bill or the past Ted and Bill, like Bill and Ted, coming together and creating these circumstances so they can get out of the police station and get all these people out of jail, including Joan of Arc.
Which, by the way, apparently Beethoven got arrested just because he's really good at playing music and could draw a crowd. Like, I was like, why did they arrest Beethoven?
The manager didn't seem to mind him at all.
I was very confused. By the way, I also love the scene where like the guy's like, are you a musician? And it's like, he's Beethoven. Like he clearly looks like Beethoven, and like he's wearing like a frilly shirt and like all the, are you a musician? No, dude, no. Of course he is. And just the look he play and how much joy he takes in playing, and he puts on this huge concert and attracts the crowd, which then gets him arrested. I'm like, okay. Everyone else makes sense to me. I'm like, of course they all got arrested.
Well, Joan of Arc takes over the aerobics section and like works everybody out so they pass out. I mean, it's so freaking great. And so they get Missy, and they get huge station wagon, big thing of the 80s. These
kind of want one, by the way. Kind of want one of those.
I bet you could fit so much crap in there.
It'd be so good.
It'd be great. Anyway, so they get to the school. They're late because, of course, they're late. Yeah. They're always running behind. But then they give their presentation, and it's this huge multimedia event. Again, how do they pull that together? Who knows? Who cares?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Look, if you're willing to believe in a phone booth that travels through time, you got to let some shit slide.
Right, or that Napoleon would know where the water park is and without any money be able to go take all the rides in his underwear. Okay.
Sure.
I don't care. It's like you don't have to explain everything. It's like they give this presentation that just kicks ass. Everybody loves it.
So good. And of course we get the football player who, does the whole like San Dimas High school football rules. Like that's how he ends it,
rules.
just so he could like get his applause, and of course he's going to get an F, but it's just so their report's really good, and it's really entertaining. And again, like Napoleon is just like such a prick. It's like, I don't think your plan's going to work. No. Like just like smashes everything. He's such a prick.
And Genghis Khan is doing his moves, and then Joan of Arc is doing her moves, and then Freud gives him a psychoanalysis of Ted's life, and then he's like, whoa. And then he looks to Bill and goes, I just got a little bit of, what am I thinking?
An edible complex.
Another little edible complex. And Missy's just kind of like, I don't know. So cute. It's so... And all the parents show up to watch them, so everybody's like cheering them on. It's so great. And then they have their last scene where they're playing their music. Oh, and we forgot there's a whole scene where they're in the future, and Clarence Clemens of all people.
I totally forgot that. I forgot that the three, I wrote them down. Where did I write it down? Because it's Clarence Clemens, Martha Davis. She's a musician, and then Freeway.
The motels.
Yeah, and then Freeway Bill.
Fee.
Thank you.
From
Sorry.
The Tubes.
Yes, are all the like three most important people. Is that what they call them? They call them. Yeah, the most important people. That's just what they referred to them as. Apparently, originally it was supposed to be ZZ Top, which I think is hilarious.
That would have been hilarious too.
But yeah, I and they go to the future, and like. They all like airplay guitar together and stuff. That scene's so great. It's so fun.
It's really fun. So in the end, Rufus comes back, and he brings the babes with them who are now in like regular clothes.
He took us to the mall.
Exactly.
Gave us credit cards.
We got our hair done. We got Orange Julius.
They're so cute.
They're adorable. Everybody drink. And then they're going to begin their music, which is going to change the world one day.
Yes.
And that's the movie.
I can't even tell you. I saw it multiple times in the theater, rented it a million times, watched it on HBO, probably recorded it off HBO because I did have a recording at some point. I watched this movie so much back in the day. I loved it.
It's just fun, damn it. It's just a good time.
Yeah.
Once again, they're good people, and they just want simple things.
Yeah.
And it brings history to people and makes it exciting. I just love it.
I do too. I read that apparently they wanted Eddie Van Halen to play Rufus, but they couldn't afford him.
Mess.
They couldn't afford it. No, I think they needed George Carlin.
Yeah.
I think,
he kind of grounds it.
I think so too. And he sells it because he's George Carlin and he's fucking hilarious. What do you think of the sequels?
I didn't love the second one. I thought the one that came out a couple of years ago during COVID was really great. I thought that was super fun. It has their kids in there. The second one, they go to death, or
they go to hell.
There's a scene where Ted's dad does an imitation of Ted that's hilarious, like is really good. But other than that, I kind of felt like a stale. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I like the sequel. I remember seeing that one in the theater, and I liked it, but didn't like it as much as Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, which I kind of expected. Like, because I've lived with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure longer. So then I go see Bogus Journey, and I was like, yeah, it was fine. Like, I liked it, but I didn't love it. Like, I loved Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I really liked the last one. Was it Bill and Ted Save the World or something?
Yeah.
And I really liked that one because it was just, again, like, it felt joyful to me. And at the time, we kind of needed it because it came out in 2020.
It was in the middle of COVID, so we all sort of needed something to look forward to. And they have such great chemistry together.
They do.
They look like they're best friends. They just look like they get along.
Yeah.
And it's so sweet.
I love it. It's such a good movie. It's so fun. I'm glad we did this one, and I look forward to watching it again with Calvin when he decides he wants to sit with me and watch it. It's like, no, thanks, Mom. Which one of the historical figures is your favorite?
I love Napoleon. He just fucking cracks me up. He's such a dick, but he's
is the only time
funny.
Only time you will hear Margot say I love Napoleon. I think I love Socrates.
Socrates is adorable.
Yeah.
Everybody drink.
He's really selling me on it. I love Billy the Kid and Socrates showing up to save them from being beheaded, and that he wants to pick up chicks in the mall, and all of it. It just makes me laugh. His reactions make me laugh.
And their Abraham Lincoln looks like Abraham Lincoln.
Yes, he does.
It's just, it works. It's silly. That's the whole thing.
Oh, the
it's
movie.
Just
oh,
silly.
Bill and Ted Face the Music. That's what it was called. This movie is very silly, and silly is great. And again, because the movie's not mean, I think it holds up well.
Yes.
Other than the one thing that doesn't.
Yeah, and that's just one thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it does for a second, and then it's like, okay, and then I go back to it. But
I'm like, I know that like we don't want to like edit movies, but if you want to drop that part out, I wouldn't object. Just saying, like, it would make it, then it would be perfect, in my opinion. But that's okay. I wanted to share with you some other Keanu Reeves movies that aren't franchises.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
And we have never talked about them on the show before because we've done a few Keanu Reeves movies. So have you seen River's Edge?
Yes, that's my first Keanu movie.
Yeah, I think it was most of ours.
That's a dark fucking movie.
Yeah, not a
good time.
Not a good time. Not a feel good movie. Don't pair it with Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It's not. That's
or
not.
Watch that first, and then watch Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dangerous Liaisons.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
It is a good movie. My Own Private Idaho.
I haven't seen that in a really long time. Also, a fucking bummer.
It's such a bummer. I saw that one in the theater, and I think didn't know what to think about what I saw, and then watched it years later and was like, oh, okay, but it's a fucking bummer.
Yeah.
Dracula.
Oh, he's terrible in that. But that's not a great movie, I argue.
That movie looks amazing to me. Like,
I wanted to love it.
Yeah, that's
the
the thing, because
that's my jam.
Like the look of it, and like Gary Oldman is so good in it, and like,
yeah,
I like all of that. I'm like, Keanu Reeves is not the right person for that role. Like, because he just feels very modern. It's this in Dangerous Liaisons. It was kind of the same, where I was like, he just feels modern to me.
He also just, let's be clear, didn't master the accent.
Correct.
That's a big problem, especially if you got Gary Oldman there, and
he also the time period he did Much Ado About Nothing, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's a good movie.
And he plays a character that's like a few words. I think he even says like, I'm a man of few words, and I was like, that is good casting for Keanu Reeves in that movie. Also, he plays Denzel Washington's brother. I love the like colorblind casting of that movie. I love that movie so much. It's so good. Johnny Mnemonic.
I haven't seen that in a long time. I have no opinion.
I'm pretty sure I saw almost all of these in the theater because of Keanu Reeves, and then was disappointed.
Yeah, there's a few.
For a few of these. A Walk in the Clouds.
I've never seen that.
Okay, I saw it and I liked it. Like, I was like, that's fine, but he is beautiful in it. Beautiful. Like, that's what I remember from A Walk in the Clouds. I was like, this is like the best Keanu Reeves has ever looked. He was so beautiful in it. Just a couple more. Sweet November.
Yeah, we need to talk about that one day.
This one's on our list, and it's been a request. But I think it wasn't streaming for a little while, and that's why we haven't done it. But it's probably streaming now, so we'll do it at some point. Maybe in November. Feels appropriate. All right, 2 more movies. Something's Gotta Give.
That's with Diane Keaton.
Yeah.
That is a good movie. That's a fun movie.
I also like that movie, and I'm like, she should have maybe stayed with Keanu Reeves. Just saying.
Yeah.
And then finally, Always Be My Maybe.
Hey, it's almost there as a movie. It's so close to being a great movie. It's just good, but he's great. Like his part is great.
Yes.
But that movie needs some shaping. It's almost there.
Yeah. We've talked about Netflix movies before where it's like one more draft on that would have made it like really great. But he's so funny in it. Like, he's great in it. He didn't need to do anything different.
He plays himself.
He's so good at it.
Yeah, but he's great at it.
Okay, that's our list.
All right, do you want to hear the top 10 singles for when this movie came out?
Yeah, I do.
So it was released, and this is the U.S. top 40 singles, but this is February 18th, 1989. Number 10, New Kids on the Block, You Got the Right Stuff.
You got the right stuff. Yeah, my sister was a New Kids on the Block fan.
They were cute.
Number
9, Information Society, Walking Away.
I was very much an Information Society person.
That's the Live 105 music I used to hear.
Yes.
Yeah. Number 8, Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians, What I Am.
I got tired of that song then, and I'm still tired of that song now.
Yeah.
And it's no slight at Edie Brickell, by the way, because I think she's lovely, and she wrote a musical with Steve Martin that I love very much, but did not care for that song.
It's a little whimsical, and it depends what kind of mood you're in.
Yeah, it's just like, it's like a smile on a dog. It's like, whatever.
Whatever. Oh, God. So 80s had a lot of power ballads. This one is from Sheriff, When I'm With You. I'm sorry.
I think we all love Sheriff. Come on. They're huge. I don't know who Sheriff is.
Yeah, they all had a party song, an arena song, and then they had a power ballad.
Yes.
Those are the things that they had to have. Okay. I love this song. Well, no, not this one. Sorry. Number 5, Sheena Easton, The Lover in Me. That's not my favorite. I like Sheena Easton, but that's not very good. Okay. Debbie Gibson, Lost in Your Eyes. Okay. I like Debbie Gibson. I was into it.
Yeah, I was super into Debbie Gibson and Tiffany. I love that stuff. And Debbie Gibson, I was like, she like writes her own songs. So she's a serious artist. But that song is like such a like slow, like high school slow dance song.
But she was like 18. She was like 17 or 18.
She's just a kid.
Long Island. Yeah, I know. So we went to high school with her and said she was a sweetheart. Like she was really great. But unfortunately, like they both kind of got stuck with that being a teenage famous person. Yeah. And they both kind of struggled. Number 3, Bon Jovi, Born to Be My Baby. Once again, those arena rock songs.
Yeah, you have to have them.
Number 2, Tone Loc, Wild Thing.
I just heard this song.
I was into that.
I just heard that song yesterday, and that shit is fucking catchy. And after that, he had Funky Cold Medina, which, again, really catchy. A fucked up song when you listen to the words.
But when you actually hear the lyrics, you're like, oh my God, this is terrible.
He's drugging women and making them like fall in love with him or whatever so he can have sex with them. I'm like, but then you hear the beat and it's like, yeah. Just ignore the words.
And number 1 that week, Paula Abdul, Straight Up. Great song.
I loved Paula Abdul. I mean, I still love Paula Abdul. I think she's a kook, and I follow her on TikTok and love to see her dance. But I was all in. I was forever her girl for sure.
So that was a great album. That was a really, really good album.
So good. It had Opposites Attract. It had
DJ Scat Cat or something like that.
DJ Scat Cat.
Which they know what scat really is.
It was so good. And it had the song Forever Your Girl. It had Cold Hearted Snake.
Which I loved.
Yeah, loved.
That video was great.
Yeah, hot stuff. Love me some Paula Abdul.
Yeah.
What else are you dorking out about, my friend?
I only have a few things this week. I below deck sailing is just always my jam.
I love how much you love Below Deck.
I really do. It's really great. I started watching a Netflix documentary called Queen Cleopatra.
I was hoping that you would start it so you could tell me if I should start it.
I started it. I'm like halfway through the second episode. I just had to go to bed early last night.
Yeah.
Which was because I have two cats now. One was a kitten, like 3 a.m. They were like attacking me.
Right, they're gonna wake you up.
Yeah, they woke me up. But anyway, it's really good. There's a controversy because they have a black woman playing Cleopatra, so of course people have to freak out. But it's not because people are like, oh, she's Greek and she's whatever.
Like, who cares? Oh my god,
Right.
People fucking grow up.
But they had a really interesting mix of people who are the experts, which you don't normally see.
Okay.
And because I see a lot of like World War II documentaries and stuff, so you kind of see the same experts over and over again, or the Tudor family and shit like that that I like. But so this was a whole new batch of people, and I love me a good documentary where someone kind of comes to life and feels human.
Yeah.
That's the reason I want to watch it, and she does.
Okay.
And it's interesting. So I really enjoyed it. Queer Eye for the Straight Guy. They have new episodes. I'm starting it tonight.
I haven't had a chance to watch it yet because I have my boy and he doesn't want to watch Queer Eye for the Straight Guy with me. So I'm going to need a couple days, but I can't fucking wait.
Yeah, that's going to be a binge.
I love it. It's a binge. The show is like...
I go back to that show.
It's just each episode is just a big ball of humanity, and they always make me cry. Always. Yeah. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to that.
I'm watching Paramount Plus Fatal Attraction.
Ooh.
I don't know if it's any good.
Okay.
I'm not quite sure about that, but I think it drops on Mondays, and I have like a gap on Mondays where so I'm just watching that now. But who's the kid I'm thinking of? It's Lizzie Kaplan and
Joshua Jackson.
He's really good.
Yeah, he's a really good
actor.
He is a really good actor. I was Team Pacey, by the way, on Dawson's Creek.
I never saw that one.
I like. Yeah. That's on my list. Should I watch it, or you're not sure you like it?
Oh yeah, watch it. If you like it. Yeah, I mean it takes the story, and basically they open it with and spoilers for Fatal Attraction, y'all, but in this version Dan goes to jail.
So it's from the original ending of
right.
Okay.
And it has Amanda Peet who plays his wife, and I always like her.
Okay.
And they go back and forth in time. So when he's having the affair till after that. And so you're not quite sure, did he do it or did he take the fall for someone else? It's a thing to watch.
All right.
You're, put it on there. HBO Max Love and Death.
Oh, yes.
It's the Candy Montgomery one, and it has Elizabeth Olsen and Jesse Plemons. And it also has a guy in there this past episode who plays Candy Montgomery's lawyer, and his actor is Tom Pelfrey. And he plays... it's funny because we had Steven Crowder was the subject of our What a Creep episode. This guy's last name is Crowder, and he's the attorney for a killer. But he's so fucking hot, Sonia. I was watching.
I'm looking him up. I'm like, oh.
He just had a baby with Kaylee Cuoco, and I'm like, good on you, girl.
She's adorable. Everybody drink. So
and she's supposedly a sweetheart too. Somebody I know was on Flight Attendant. Is that her TV series? She had a little small part in there and said she was amazing and so nice and great with the crew. Yeah,
I love that.
Anyway, good on her. She bagged Tom Pelfrey because this guy's hot, y'all. Barry is really good on HBO Max.
Yes.
I had to say, I haven't seen this movie before, and you're going to be shocked, but we did this for Book versus Movie. We covered The Thin Man.
The Thin Man?
I've seen it like 3 times in the last week. I love this movie so much.
The first two, because the second one is really great too, and you get a young Jimmy Stewart, but the first one is one of my all-time favorite movies. Such
a great movie.
They have such amazing chemistry. We're talking about William Powell and Myrna Loy. They have such amazing chemistry. They're so fucking funny together. They super love each other and trust each other. the characters, that they're just a joy to watch. I love that movie. I'm so glad you loved it.
I so loved it so much. And the book is really great too, if you ever get a chance to read it. But I just wanted to say, because Sonia always recommends this movie to me and talks about how it's one of her favorites. I fucking love it.
Yay!
It's great.
I love it. And you should watch the second one too. It's like diminishing returns because there's like six of them. Hear. And by the way, all of them are fine. They're fine. It's just the first one is like perfect, and the second one is also really good. And then after that, it's like that, you know.
But and lastly, I want to recommend. It's a book called Love in the Library. We talked about this.
Yeah.
On our Patreon episode for other show, but it's a woman, Maggie Takuta Hall, and she wrote a story. It's a children's book, and it's about how her Japanese grandparents met at an internment camp during World War II, just outside of Idaho, or in Idaho, someplace in Idaho. And Scholastic is trying to ban it from schools. They wanted her to edit the parts about racism.
What the fuck, Scholastic?
I mean, it's just like, I can't even. So I just got a copy of this book, but then we heard from a couple of our listeners who said her other books are really good too. So I'm just, get a book of hers out of the library or get one and donate it to your library. I don't know. Yeah. I just wanted to support her because that's some bullshit. And it sounds like an interesting story, and I can't wait to read it.
Oh, that's such a good thing to do. And I am also going to be ordering the book. You reminded me. I'm going to add it to my shopping cart.
Yep.
Good call. I am continuing my listening of You Must Remember This and the podcast. And she recently did an episode all about Basic Instinct. And I was like, I haven't seen Basic Instinct in a long time. So I went back and rewatched Basic Instinct. And what the fuck? That movie is fucking...
Should we talk about it?
I'm like, maybe we should. That movie is bananas. But I posted... It's bananas. First of all, it's filmed in San Francisco, so I'm kind of surprised I hadn't rewatched it already, because I love me a 90s thriller, and I love movies filmed in San Francisco. But I posted a scene on my TikTok. It's one of my favorite parts of the movie, this weird fucking movie. Michael Douglas follows Sharon Stone to like some like cool... He goes to meet her at like some cool nightclub, and everyone's just like, they're so cool. Like, they're just like, she's wearing this like gold backless dress, and like everyone's like hip and cool. And when Michael Douglas walks in, he looks like someone's dad who's coming to pick them up. And he's wearing like a V-neck, like wool sweater, and like
with no shirt underneath.
No shirt underneath. So I was howling through the whole scene, because we're supposed to be like, look at him, he wants to fuck. Like,
we should definitely do this movie for the whole Gene Triplehorn of it all. I remember that.
Yeah.
And George Zunda has some really messed up things to say.
This movie is
it was a hit.
It was a huge hit, and the movie is so weird, and like watching it through a modern lens, but I could not get over the scene with Michael Douglas. Like, by the way, he's like in his 40s maybe in the movie.
No, he was hot. I mean,
you know, he's not my type, but I get it. Like, he's objectively good looking man, and like, but him showing up at the club with the wool V-neck sweat, I couldn't get
and you know,
I had to pause the movie, and because I was laughing so hard.
Like, she posted that on her TikTok, and I was cracking up. And we've talked about this before, like all these choices they make in movies, especially movies where there's a big budget, like everything is thought out.
Yes.
Especially wardrobe.
Yes.
And that's what they're like, what's he going to wear to a nightclub? A V-neck sweater, but no undershirt.
Because he's cool.
This is off-duty cop, just relax.
Yeah, seriously, he might as well have had like the mustache, and everyone would be like, is there a problem, officer? Like, he totally looks like an undercover cop or someone's dad who came to pick them up. Like,
my dad,
I died.
My dad had that look about him. He just looked like a Brooklyn cop, the white hair. And when Jerry Garcia died, R.I.P., in San Francisco, my brother John went to the concert. They had a big concert at not People's Park, but you know, the big space in San Francisco. What am I thinking of? Outdoor Space. And they had like Journey there and Santana. And my dad was going to meet my brother, and John, being my brother John, he was a flake, and he just didn't give Dad the right directions. So my dad wound up backstage at the concert because they all thought he was an undercover cop and nobody wanted to interfere with him. So he eventually makes his way back and sees my brother. He goes, "Oh, I was backstage." And he's like, "Who'd you talk to?" He goes, "Oh, it's a very nice man, a Spanish man." And John goes, "Carlos Santana." And Dad just goes, "I think that was his name."
Of course, by the way, there was a concert in San Francisco where Carlos Santana was. Carlos Santana, by the way, plays with everyone who comes through San Francisco. Because anytime you see a concert in San Francisco, somebody will be like, "And now I'm going to bring out a special guest." And everyone's like, "Here comes Carlos Santana." And it's always Carlos Santana.
Which I love Santana, by the way. And he's a great guitarist and everything. It just was very funny that, my dad talked about it. He says, "I don't know, I just started wandering backstage. Nobody would come near me." They were all hiding their stashes.
He's like, "I just do what I want."
I just did. Right. He had no clue. It was so funny. I love that story.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
I have 2 more recommendations. I finished Queen Charlotte on Netflix because I love me some Bridgerton. And this is a prequel to the Bridgerton stories with all about the Queen Charlotte, and basically the madness of King George. It's sad, obviously, we kind of know where it goes, but it's really, really good. And
good.
And Bridgerton, look, I know what I'm getting when I watch Bridgerton. It's smutty. It's a romance novel. It's the equivalent of the romance novel with Fabio on the cover. It's smutty. That's great. I like it. That's why I watch it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to look at. Everyone is beautiful. They do classical versions, string versions of modern songs to kind of pull you in. And the clothes are amazing. The jewelry's amazing. The sets are amazing. And they modernize little things it's like a colorblind casting. Well, I don't want to quite say that because they do address that people are Black or different ethnicities. They also had some characters in this one that are gay characters.
There weren't gay people then.
Yes, no, I know, but they had
a modern invention.
They actually have storylines, is what I mean. As opposed to other shows that. Well, anyway, you know what I mean. I think it's very good. It's super watchable. It's 6 episodes. It'll probably make you cry. But I really, really liked it. And then I also watched The Light We Carry on Netflix, which is based on Michelle Obama's book called The Light We Carry. And she did a book tour, and she was being interviewed with Oprah, and it's a huge audience. And it's just very... surprise, Michelle Obama's rad. She's very smart. She's very open. Oprah asked some very great questions. She talked a lot about her marriage with Barack Obama, and she's we've been married for 30 years. She's maybe 10 of those years I really didn't like him. And then they talked about how social media is oh, how dare you? And she's and these are people, she's that don't know what real relationships are like. It's not always amazing all the time. And there's some very real talk in here about how marriages work, how relationships are work, about getting older. Because I think, was she maybe late 50s, early 60s?
Has to be. Yeah.
And Oprah is too. And they talk a lot about menopause and also just being older. And you're I don't give a fuck. I don't care what you think. I do what I want. She's I'm wearing the leather pants. I don't care,
Yeah.
And it was just such a good thing to watch. And I think it's great for people our age to watch it because we'll see yes, it'll click for us. But I think it's good for younger people to watch because just fucking not everything's a big deal. It's just, just be yourself. it's so hard when you're young because you care about what people think, and there's just
so many rules,
yes.
right? And
yes.
then you get older, like, oh, those rules are really stupid.
Exactly.
You know, don't wear white after Labor Day, or if you wore something once, you can't wear it. And if that was fashionable, if it comes in fashion again, you can't wear it again. I'm like, that is such a bullshit.
Right.
You know, dictate. Like, no, wear what looks good on you. Figure out what looks good on you, and then wear whatever the hell you want.
Yes. It's really good. I think it's less than 90 minutes. I think it's well worth the time. It made me want to read the book, actually what it made me want to do is listen to the book. So I added
Everyone
it to my...
says that her books are great. Yeah.
I also listened to her first one. I think it was just Becoming, and it's really great. Like, she's got a lot of really interesting stories. She had like a really awesome, strong family. I just really like her, and Oprah's always fascinating to me.
Oprah's hilarious because one of the times she interviewed Michelle Obama, it was like towards, I think, Oprah's last season of her talk show, which is like over 10 years ago. And it was like she was trying to impress Michelle Obama with her like private plane and the luxuries that she enjoys. And Michelle Obama's kind of like, yeah, whatever. I was the first lady. Like,
they clearly are friends now. Like,
oh yeah, I didn't say they're
yeah,
friendly,
and they had like a really good rapport, and
yeah,
it was really fun to watch. I really, really enjoyed it, so I highly recommend that one.
Yeah, she got a lot of crap as first lady from some people, but she's a very accomplished person who wasn't handed anything in her entire life. Like, truly, you know, is, we would say, the American dream, like somebody who really did work hard and overcame a lot of barriers. And I do love, you know, Barack Obama lived in my neighborhood when he first moved to New York. He was in Brooklyn. He was in Park Slope, and he was on 2nd Street. And people talk about that. It's a long time ago. It's like probably when Bill and Ted came out is when. I wonder if Barry went to see Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I bet he did and had a great time.
I bet he did.
Yeah.
He would see Bill and Ted.
Of course.
Of course.
Everybody did. It's a time where, like, it was a huge movie. I remember that. I remember it was a big hit.
Yeah, it was a huge hit.
Yeah.
It made $40 million, which was a lot of money at the time, y'all.
Yeah.
Now it's the craft service budget for Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
But none for the writers.
But none for the writers. Boo.
Boo. We support the WGA.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. My friend, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on Twitter at Brooklyn Margot. On Instagram, it's Brooklyn Fit Chick. My site is Brooklyn Fit Chick. And also I'm on TikTok, and I put clips there of the stuff we're watching. And it's under my name, Margot Donahue.
Yes, follow her on all the things.
Please.
You could.
I'm pitching another book. So.
Yes. She likes engagement, people.
I need engagement, please.
Please do. You could find me at The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram and the TikTok. And did I say thesoniashow.com? You can find me at thesoniashow.com. You can find Dorking Out wherever you listen to your podcasts. We have a website, dorkingoutshow.com. Email us, dorkingoutshow@gmail.com. You'll get stickers. If you want stickers, I mean. We won't, if you email us and don't ask for them, we won't send them. You have to ask for them.
No, we're not going to look for your address and just send them to you. We're not weirdos.
Well, we're kind of weirdos. But we take requests. So if you want to make a request, please email us and send it our way, or tweet to us, or write it. Don't write it on our Facebook wall, because I hardly ever go to that. So that's just where people go to complain that I said dirty words. So, but also please leave us a review wherever you listen to your podcast, and we'll mention you on the show. This was super fun. I'm so glad we finally talked about Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
All of you out there, please just be excellent to each other.
And party on, dudes.